Hey there. My name is Riley, and I am a true fantasy, or I should even say a legend, because I can spend more time underwater than any of you. Much more time. That's because I'm an amphibian man. In the first years of my life, no one knew about my unusual abilities. Everyone just was sure that I was the most ordinary child who treated water with special love. But actually, it's absolutely normal for a child to sit in the water for hours, so this fact hasn't made anyone suspicious at all. When I was 5 years old, my parents and I went on a vacation to the beach. Mom asked me to remain on the shore in her range of vision. Then suddenly a big wave rose and washed me away into the sea. And while my parents were going crazy and tearing their hair out on the shore, I calmly swam underwater and explored the underwater world. Hundreds of species of fish, jellyfish, marine plants, coral reefs, everything seemed unusual and very beautiful to me. I was so caught up with all this that I wasn't even thinking about my parents. When I emerged, I realized that I swum very far into the sea. I was scared and started to panic because there were neither my parents nor anybody else nearby. I couldn't even see the shore from my place. Soon, a rescue boat appeared. They noticed me and took me to the beach, where the ambulance doctors were on duty. When people saw me, they clutched their head and were terribly surprised because no one could understand how a 5-year-old child could survive in the open sea for such a long time. And they were shocked even more when, after a medical examination, it turned out that I was perfectly all right. Of course, I was frightened, but everything else was fine. I had neither injuries, nor bruises, nor scratches. When I got over my stress, I began to tell my parents what I had seen in the underwater world. I'd tried to describe its beauty and the diversity of its inhabitants, but my mom just shrugged and said that it was a child's fantasy, especially since the child had been in extreme conditions. That time, we didn't come close to the sea anymore, but looked at it from afar. This experience turned out to be a great shock for us. When the vacation was over and we returned home, my mother said that after the accident, I would probably be afraid of water and this fear could last for the rest of my life. Actually, I did not understand how water could cause fear, but then I decided that my mother was more experienced in such things and knew best. Then, over a very long period of time, I was not allowed to get close to the water at all. I was forbidden to walk near the ponds, go to the pools, or even wash in the bathtub full of water, which was replaced by a shower cubicle. My parents were just maniacally scared that something would happen to me in the water. And only after 5 years, my parents asked me if I would like to go to the pool with them. At that, they even had very embarrassed and strained faces. Of course, I said. After that, they looked at each other strangely and began to prepare for the pool. In the evening, we came to the large pool and there were very few people. A man came up to us who identified himself as a rehabilitation coach. He told me that his task was to help children like me to quell the fear of water and forget the stresses experienced. Again, I could not understand why my visit in the pool was considered to be such an important event for everyone, but I did not ask too many questions and jumped into the water. I decided to swim along the whole pool lane from the beginning to the end. I was really pleased to feel my body in the water because it was not like on land. Laws of physics differ in the water, and it is very cool. In short, I forgot myself again, and when I emerged, I saw my horrified parents and a coach in the water. They rushed to me and pulled me out of the pool. I felt an incredible anger towards them. I didn't understand why my parents decided to take me to the pool if they wanted to keep me away from swimming. In other words, I blew the fuses, told them not to touch me, and jumped back into the water. I don't know how long I've been swimming along the bottom of the pool, splashing out all my emotions and my anger. But when I emerged from the water, I saw my parents who were greatly surprised and the coach with a stopwatch. He said that I spent almost 10 minutes underwater and asked how I did it. I did not know what to answer, and then he asked me to dive again and stay underwater for as long as I could. I felt excitement and jumped into the water again in a heartbeat. However, after a few minutes, I was bored. The bottom of the pool was not like the seafloor, and it was not that interesting to remain there for long. Then the coach offered me to play a game. He proposed to scatter coins in different parts of the pool, and I had to collect them as soon as possible. It was quite a strange game, but still it was a game in the water, and I agreed. The only condition of that game was to not come up out of the water. That time, I spent about 40 minutes in the water until I managed to collect all the coins. It was an absolute world record, and it was also clear that my abilities were not superpowers. The coach called me an amphibian man. Subsequently, this nickname stuck tightly to me. In short, that is how it has become known that I am different from all other people. I had never even thought that I was so unique and my phenomenon was a mystery to humanity. But honestly speaking, I was proud of myself because I got an undeniable winning card which could help me to become quite popular among girls. I was drawn to the sea, to its bottom more and more. I don't even know how to explain this passion, but there I felt myself calmer and more comfortable. At such moments, my parents were worried about me and very angry at the same time. But then they were always laughing and used to say that the sea was my habitat. I was aware of this myself. At about 13 years old, I started to become ill quite often, especially in the cold seasons. It was hard to breathe for me. I had apathy for everything, and it seemed that I was dying. But when spring and warmth arrived, I was back to life as if it was some kind of magic. Doctors kept saying that I had no deviations and was absolutely healthy. They even explained my illnesses as psychosomatic disorder. I almost believed it myself until I accidentally met a zoologist. He explained to me immediately that living in a temperate region was vitally dangerous for me, just as it was dangerous for any amphibians. No amphibian species can survive in the cold environment, so he advised me to move to the warmer place. At first, I was skeptical about this. I mean, previously everything was fine. However, the zoologist explained that until adolescence, my body tried to adapt to living conditions. However, it had gained end and started to ask for more water. It was difficult to accept such information. I was born and raised here in my country. I like cold winters and nice but not very hot summers. And as for the sea, we could always fly there once a year for vacation. However, my parents and I made a very difficult decision, and soon we had to move to another continent where there were no relatives, friends, or even my own apartment. There we had nothing but us. It was hard to leave everything in our hometown. It was hard to part with our beloved home, but my health required it. I felt myself that I started to languish in the cold country more and more. 8 months have passed after our move. Now we live by the ocean, and I have never been sick during all this time. I feel myself great and spend a lot of time in the water, something about 12 hours every day or every other day. My parents have accepted such a state of affairs, but they are still very concerned for me every time and say they are looking forward to inventing the telephone or Wi-Fi network in the ocean to be able to call me. At present, they have no information about my condition while I'm swimming. This is very difficult for any parents, and I understand their concerns. Most of all, they're afraid that a shark can attack me and one day I just won't return home. Theoretically, this is possible, but so far I have never encountered any sharks, even once. Dad says that if such a meeting does take place, then I should have a knife with me for self-defense. Honestly speaking, I believe that the shark is not the most dangerous underwater inhabitant. I'm afraid of divers much more than of the sharks. Recently, I met with one of them and he almost strangled me. It's hard to understand for some people that I'm not a shapeshifter and therefore I am not dangerous to them. I think in the future my ability will make me a good Coast Guard or a lifeguard. That is my dream and goal now. By the way, I started to turn a penny even now. Sometimes people who come here for vacation lose their precious jewelry in the water. They ask me to find them for a good reward. Sometimes the amount of reward is 3 times greater than my father's salary. Moreover, when one of the boats sank, the Coast Guard turned to me with a request to find it. The boat staff survived, but none of them remembered where the crash occurred. I don't know how long they would have looked for a boat without my help, but it only took me 30 minutes to find it. To my mind, that was not bad at all, taking into consideration the importance of the cargo that could be lost if they were delayed. You know, if my parents and I didn't move, then in my former place of living, I would have no future. There, I would remain a mutant and a shapeshifter for everyone. Here, people value me and recognize my importance because the ocean needs me. Do you or your friends have any special abilities that other people don't have? Tell about them in the comments. And be sure to leave a like to this video and subscribe to our channel to be the first to watch new interesting video stories.